8 seconds changed my life. That 8 seconds was a car accident. Get to know yourself. Start writing down the words that describe what you're going through each day. And even if you're not able to concentrate because of what you're going through, just write down one word. Keep listening, because we might be able to plant a seed now that will grow into a tree when you need that knowledge.
Okay, Barbie, well, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you here. Would you like to introduce yourself to the audience and those that are listening?
Yes, thank you so much, Richard, for having me. I'm excited to be here and to share with your audience. And a little bit about me. I'm Barby Ingle. I live in Arizona in the United States, and I am a chronic pain patient. I also have multiple rare diseases, and I've taken those challenges that I've learned from dealing with my own health to share with the world and let them know that there is hope and there is help. And I do that through education, awareness, social events. I've published 9 books, and I've even done a little bit of reality television.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. Today's probably going to be very different to some of the episodes that I've ever done. It's a personal development podcast. However, today is about personal development, but very much in a different area to what I normally talk about. So I'm quite excited. So we're going to be talking about the overarching topic will be, being an advocate of your own health.
Mhm.
And if it branches off, it branches off. Let's see where it goes. I suppose some of the things that have happened to you in your story, a little bit more about your story, because it's quite interesting. I've read up on it and share with the audience that what your story's been.
Okay, I like to say 8 seconds changed my life.
Okay.
And that 8 seconds was a car accident. I was fine and got in this car accident, and all of a sudden I was not fine anymore. They told me I would be better in 3 or 4 days. That's what normally happens after a small car accident. And here I am almost 20 years later, and still battling chronic pain, and how the autoimmune disease, I have a neuro-autoimmune disease, so it attacks my nervous system, my organs, my muscles and bones, and it got triggered by that small car accident. But I had the disease, I just didn't know I had it because I had no symptoms
Oh,
until I had a trauma trigger it. And then it took me 3 years, 43 doctors to get a diagnosis, and it took another 4 years to get a proper treatment. So during that 7 years, I was bedbound and wheelchair bound, and trying everything I could to get the help I needed. Although those first 3 years, I think part of the problem was I didn't have the right vocabulary, and I learned I needed to use adjectives to get the care that I need, so that I could be heard properly, and that the providers, the medical providers, knew what type of options to even suggest, because I would literally go in just crying. Talk about personal development. You can't
yeah.
just go in and sit down and cry to the doctor and say, help me, fix me. You have to go in and be your own best advocate and speak up for yourself and give examples of what you're living with daily, so that they can help you to their best ability.
You said that you had the chronic disease before the accident, and this what is it? The accident kind of triggered it off.
Yes, it triggered the symptoms to start affecting me. I had no idea that I had this. It's called reflex sympathetic dystrophy. We say RSD for short. A
Yeah.
reflex is anything in your body that's automatic. Sympathetic is your nervous system. So imagine someone putting lighter fluid in your veins and catching it on fire. It's very difficult to put that burning pain out. And then dystrophy is loss of muscle and bone. So a lot of people have heard of muscular dystrophy.
Yeah.
RSD is a rare disease. So, and it's changed names over 20 times since the Civil War. So it definitely is something that's hard to diagnose and hard to treat.
So what was the next steps for you? Well, I say next
Yes.
steps. It took eight. It took about 8 years then, from what you were just saying. 4 years, and then another 4 years.
It was 3 years and then 4 years.
Yeah.
And I still am in treatment. I go in and out of remission. And we can talk about what that means also, because it wasn't what I expected.
Hmm.
But in that first 3 years, I went through over treatment, under treatment, mistreatment. I had a doctor tell me I was going to die if I didn't have my first rib taken out. And that was a mistake, his mistake. I didn't need my rib out. And in that procedure, he made a mistake and left bone spurs. One was going into my lung, and one was going, got like snagged. It was like a hook, and it got snagged in my brachioplexus nerve bundle, which caused further neurological damage. I literally was just whatever a doctor in front of me was telling me to do, I wanted to be better. So I would do what the doctor told me instead of speaking up for myself and asking questions and saying, this is what's going on in my daily life, and I'm passing out and I'm having severe pain, and why is my body in this discolored state? Because I looked like I had spider webs under my skin but they were red. And the worse I got, the more the spider webs spread.
What was
it? It's a telltale sign. It's called blanching. Right. And it's a telltale sign of the disease. But if you don't know about that disease, you're not going to recognize or understand what it is. So doctors would say, we don't know why you're passing out almost daily. We don't know why you're having this severe pain. We don't know why your body's a different color. They literally had little answers for me, and each of them has a specialty. When they go to medical school, you think they get this broad general knowledge of the human body. Like veterinarians, when they're taking care of animals, they learn about all different kinds of species, and they know how to help all the different kinds of species. With humans, they don't have the same schooling, and they get to specialize in different areas.
Yeah.
Unless you know that and understand that, which here in the United States, that's not taught. So until you are in a situation where you already are having trouble concentrating and thinking because your whole life is flipped upside down, you don't know that the doctor or nurse or physical therapist in front of you doesn't know about every condition. And that's one of the reasons why I started speaking out and sharing my story, because what happened to me in all of the bad treatments I went through shouldn't happen to anybody. You should know and step up and start asking questions from the start researching, learning to use your adjectives. Like if I could have said burning pain instead of stop this pain, it would have changed, I think, the 3 years of me suffering so severely, really 7 years, but that first 3 years just to get a diagnosis, it would have changed that.
So actually using, yeah, that's interesting you say that. So using descriptive words,
yes,
when
burning,
and
shooting,
explaining,
stabbing, cutting,
yeah.
There's so many words to describe pain. If you can use those words to describe the type of pain you're feeling, it makes, that is what the doctor is looking for. Different words trigger different types of treatments and things that they can do to help us. But if you don't use those adjectives, you're not going to get the help you need. As well as setting the expectation, not just with the providers that you're going to stand up for yourself, but also your family and friends. I lost many friends going through this because I didn't have the vocabulary to talk about what I was going through. Even my own family members knew I would not have given up the life I had. I had an amazing life, and I had worked hard to build my life. When this happened to me, I was 29 years old. So I had built a life and was really living. Not necessarily all the right things in the right ways, but I was really living the life that I had created for myself.
Yeah.
And so I had my own business. I was a head coach at a university, and I lost all of it and had no skills to fall back on as to how do I get back to where I was, or how do I build a new life. I had to learn all of that starting at 29 years old.
So you took extreme accountability of yourself, and instead of kind of being told right by the doctors. Look, I'm not going to say and disrespect any medical professionals, but yeah, there's a certain limit, isn't there? And there's a certain limit that they'll have in terms of.
Well, we need, as a person who needs medical help or assistance in any situation, whether you broke your bone falling out of a tree or you have this mysterious illness that's attacking your body, you need to be able to talk about your health, to understand how the system in your area works. I work with patients all over the world and have been able to help people find treatments when they said nothing exists in their country. or they don't have those opportunities or a way to get it done. I've helped them create those opportunities, and sharing my story. Maybe what I went through doesn't exactly resonate with the listeners right now, but hopefully they can pick and choose something, or they may not need this information right now, but keep listening, because we might be able to plant a seed now that will grow into a tree when you need that knowledge.
It's quite interesting, this bit about the pain piece. I'm just going to come back to it. And I'll tell you why. Obviously, I live in India. I'm from the UK. I've been here the last 5 years. And I'm going to talk about the cultural differences, because I'm not just me, but friends and family members. If I've had a problem or I feel pain, or not obviously to the extent that, you've had to go through, but I don't know if it's the UK as well, but I do find it almost a cultural thing. It's kind of tarnishing it a little bit, but we have this mentality. It was like, sorry, I'll be all right. I'll be okay. And we're like, I don't need to go to the doctor. And but over here in India, I would say it's almost the opposite. If there is a problem, people do go to the doctor, but then people are also scared to go to the doctors here, because there isn't an NHS per se, a National Health Service. But there is, but most people would have to pay to see somebody. So that also stops people. But I would definitely say, from my experience, there's more people that would go to, if they've got a problem or a family member's got a problem here in India, people would go and get some help. But in the UK, we're a bit more resistant to it. I'm not saying everyone is, but that's just my experience.
I have experienced that as well with different cultures and working with people. For instance, people from Korea, South Korea specifically, I've worked with, and they do not like medications on a daily basis. Like even something like they have a headache, they will suffer through the headache instead of taking something that could help them get through the headache faster. And they even like daily things that they could do and help it. They kind of feel like it's a suffering that they're supposed to go through, or this is like somehow bad on them.
I'm a bit like that.
Having to face.
I'm a bit like that with exactly that example. I don't really take antibiotics, or not antibiotics, sorry, painkillers for headaches if I don't have to. I'd rather just kind of
And I'm not saying take an opiate for a headache, but there are other over-the-counter, as we say in America, medications that you could go down to the convenience store and get something that could help a headache, and instead of suffering for hours to days, you could be 45 minutes later you could be doing better and then live more life because you took care of it. Or someone that falls and breaks their arm, they want to wait and see. Well, let's wait and see until the swelling goes down. I want to make sure that it's broken. There's maybe a stigma in different cultures that you just don't go until you really know, okay, I need to there's really something. I can't raise my shoulder above my head anymore, or my arm above my head anymore, because my shoulder stops it. And until it really, affects your life, where you can't use your arm to use the bathroom or cook, things that you need to do on a daily basis, you don't go to the doctor, or you try to push your way through it, which can cause further damage to your body. That right now you don't necessarily think about how it's going to affect you, but in the future you're going to wish that you stopped and paid attention when it was something that's acute or minor, versus something that becomes chronic.
I am one of those people that's just a bit I know it's not the right thing either. I know it's not the
I thought it was the right thing. I did go to the hospital the day of the car accident, not because of the pain that I was in. I was like, oh, it's just whiplash. And then I get to the hospital and they're like, yeah, it's just whiplash, which was incorrect. But that would be the normal thing. After an accident and your neck hurts, you start going through some things. That's like the normal thing. But I went because I didn't even remember I got in an accident. I was found walking around in the gymnasium where I work, like right outside the doors, within 5 feet of the doors of the gymnasium.
Right.
And I was confused and I was crying. And a colleague said, "What's wrong?" And I said, "I have practice, but I can't find the gym."
Okay.
And I was 5 feet from the gym.
Your memory just went.
Yeah. And so that's why I went to I was taken to the hospital. And not because of the pain and other things that my body was starting to experience. It was I don't know where I am, and I'm confused as to, like, these are the doors to the gym, but how does my brain not know this information?
I'm going to go back to something you mentioned before we started recording,
Okay.
about is it 1 in 4 or 1 in 5 people?
1 in 5 across the world live with a chronic disease
Yeah.
that involves pain. There is 7,000 rare diseases that are known. So can you imagine being a doctor and trying to remember about 7,000 rare diseases,
Yeah.
plus all the regular things that we go through in life
Mm.
with our health? That's a lot for any one doctor. It's just impossible. You know, I'm hoping AI and computer programs can take this data that we've gathered through medical records and treatments and helping people, and start compiling better systems for diagnosing and treating any kind of condition. But 1 in 5 people living with something, that's you or somebody you know.
Yeah.
If you have 5 people in your family, one of you is
Oh, I
suffering with
know.
something.
Yeah. I could. Yeah. Yeah. Straight up, I know that. Yeah.
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 So, but people don't, until you hear those terms, like 1.5 billion people on Earth are facing something that involves pain. That's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah.
So,
So
and we don't talk about it. There's a stigma.
yeah, there is. Yeah. Well, there is, isn't it? I think a lot of it is culturally based, isn't it?
Yes.
To a point,
Absolutely.
anyway.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
what's your advice to somebody that's listening that maybe has some kind of pain, or maybe doesn't? I don't know. Let's start with those that maybe have some pain that
Okay.
are not doing something about it. Go to the
Mhm.
doctor, or is there some other things that they can do?
Well, first, get to know and understand what you're going through. It was helpful for me. Something I started on my own automatically. I
Hmm.
just didn't talk about it with other people. Again, stigma in society kind of made me feel like I was not trusting my own instincts and
Right.
what I was experiencing. But I started journaling and I started writing down what I was going through. If I did try to take any medications or anything over the counter, the things that I tried, like massage therapy and chiropractics, and just everything that I did in my daily life, what made it better, what made it worse. I started seeing patterns emerge within that first 2 to 3 months of, don't do this, these things help, these things hurt. And I started seeing patterns in myself. Get to know yourself. Start writing down the words that describe what you're going through each day. And even if you're not able to concentrate because of what you're going through, just write down one word, 5 words, whatever it is. Like I came up with monsoon. We have monsoon storms here in Arizona,
Hmm.
and a lot of things in my body are like the chaos of a monsoon coming through a town. And so I could come up with one word that could describe so many of the things I was going through. And on a really, really bad day, I could write that one word down.
Right.
And I could look at patterns of what was going on around why that moment in time was so excruciating.
Mm.
So that's one thing, is get to know yourself. Even if you don't have a diagnosis yet, 33% of the diagnosis around pain is called idiopathic. So you could
Okay.
have idiopathic neuropathy or idiopathic sarcoidosis, or in any number of idiopathic things, which means that you have symptoms similar to this disease, but we don't know why you have this disease or this condition, or something acute. It could be you got exposed to poison ivy through mangoes, so you developed this rash on your body that you can't figure out because you know you weren't around poison ivy, but mangoes come from poison ivy, so you didn't put it together. Keeping a journal of what you're going through will help with that. uh, Reaching out and seeking out help. Ask some people around you, what is, have you experienced anything like this?
Hmm.
Oh yeah, I have. I didn't really ever talk about it, but you got the conversation started, type of situation. Or, hey, I really cannot lift my groceries. I don't mind. I'm able to go to the grocery store, and the people at the grocery store can put it in a sack and put it into my car or on the basket on my bicycle or whatever, but I can't get them up the stairs at my house. Could you help me with that? Reach
Yeah.
out and seek out help. And then the next thing would be create an oasis. So I spend a lot of time in bed and in a wheelchair. Next to my bed, I have a nightstand, and on that nightstand is all of the tips and tools and things that I found help that get me through the day, even from bed. They were easy to grab. You know, there's always a bottle of water sitting there. If your significant other, your family member, friend is trying to help you, they can help make sure that the stuff on the table next to you are things that you need, like instant heat packs or a heating pad if you have the ability to plug something in, um, a bottle of water or a cup of water that's refreshed. That you know, a lot of times you stop drinking. You stop drinking water, you stop eating food or getting the proper nutrition. Making sure that you take care of the things that you can take care of with the energy you have is really important, in getting that organization so that you can set the expectation so other people can help you live your life to the fullest, no matter what you're facing.
Let's do on the flip side. This is if you there is some kind of pain, or what about if you feel like everything's okay? Is it what, just carry on, look after yourself, eat clean, exercise?
Yeah, if you're healthy now and not facing any chronic pain or even acute pain, you can still eat healthy, pay attention to your body. You can exercise. You don't have to be lifting weights, but at work or at school, get up and walk around, you know, for a few minutes every hour
Yeah.
to keep your circulation going, so that if you do have something pop up in your life that's now affecting you, you have a solid base that your body was built up to be able to walk 10,000 steps a day, or to, you know, do the physical things in life that might be taken away. I was a dancer, a coach, and did cheerleading,
Hmm.
and I lost that instantly. But I would say, having gone to the gym so often and having eaten correctly did help my situation, so that it, you know, it could have got worse, and it did get worse because I did a lot of the wrong things, uh, following advice from doctors who didn't know or understand the disease I was facing. But I think that overall I did have some benefit, because, you know, that first year I still had a strong, healthy base with my body
Hmm.
that got me through. Had they been able to help me in that first year, I probably wouldn't have gotten as bad as I did. If you can create a base and then remember to ask for help and keep track of what you need help with and what is going on with you, what has changed, it will get you help sooner, so you don't have to have as bad of a time with anything that could become chronic. And I say water for people who have something already, but people underestimate how much water can help you, and you know, making sure that you get the right amount of water for you. So usually, you know, you can take your weight and divide it in half, and that's how many ounces of water you should be drinking a day. That's a good quick way to think about how much water you should be drinking. Most people on earth don't get the right amount of water.
Hmm.
And even a little bit of dehydration can make a healthy person develop a headache or muscle aches.
Yeah.
So
It's you might have seen me smile then when you were talking about water.
yeah.
And that's because if I'm going to talk about my mum and my sister, and back home in the UK,
Yeah.
I don't think they drink enough water. I never see anyone. I don't, and I don't, not just them, but other people as well, like family and friends. I just
Yeah.
don't see people drink water. I literally don't see them drink water. What they will do is they'll have
Yep.
100 cups of cup of tea, or teas. Sorry, I say cups of tea, but yeah.
Yep.
What's just on that?
Tea
If
is good. I mean, good
Yeah,
clean water. Having extra drinks, you don't want to just drink water all the time. It can get very boring, and then
yeah,
it makes you not want to drink water.
yeah.
Um,
That's all I
so
drink pretty much.
right. So if you can drink your half your weight in water each day, that'd be great. If you can't, adding in other drinks to supplement the water, there's a lot of water in tea.
Oh,
You
okay.
know, it's
So that's
flavored water.
okay. That's okay. I know it's made of water, isn't it? Yeah, but
It just depends on, and each person is a little bit different. For instance, I like to have one soda a day. I don't drink any alcohol. I don't drink coffee. I don't drink tea. I drink water
mhm.
and I drink one soda a day. And that's kind of like my splurge in life. And also, I've been tested. I went through microbiome testing for my gut health. And
Okay.
also, I went through genetic testing to see if there's anything I should avoid for food wise.
Right. Okay. That's
and
interesting.
and so that has really changed. Like just taking tomatoes, things like a tomato, everybody thinks a tomato is good for you, right?
Yeah.
That's what we're told. Well, for me, tomatoes cause kidney stones.
Really? How
So I was a
interesting.
chronic kidney stone maker. And once I cut out tomatoes and pistachios, which I love,
Yeah. Yeah.
I cutting out nuts, I actually stopped developing kidney stones for about 2 years now. I've had, knock on wood, no kidney stones. And it literally was just changing my diet, and things that you think are healthy for you because society tells us they're healthy might not necessarily be healthy for you.
Mm.
And if you can't do testing, if you don't have access to that, you can do an elimination type of
Yeah,
situation where
seen this. Yeah.
yeah, you can like cut out some of the things that you eat. Just cut out one thing at a time and do it trial by error if you need to. It takes a lot longer than getting a simple test, but it can literally change your body health. But for me, sugar, like raw sugar, is great for me. My body has
Really?
no problem processing sugar or gluten. Like so many people are
Okay.
are like, don't eat gluten. It's in wheat. And so they'll avoid wheats and or gluten, and my body can process gluten just fine. But then vegetables it has trouble with.
Yeah. See, I know about some of these things you're saying, but I didn't know so much about the test. What's this test that you can do? I'd be quite
Sure.
interested in doing that.
Well, I actually have a coupon code I can give to your listeners.
Okay.
It's a test that's really expensive. I don't get anything. Somebody that was an influencer for the company gave me the coupon code,
Okay.
and she lets me pass it on. So I don't make anything off of it, but it's a company called Viome, and there's other microbiome gut health tests that are out there around the world. This is just one I like, and it was created by a doctor from India, actually.
Oh, okay.
And
There we go.
he lives in San Francisco, California, but he's from India. And I'm telling you, my results were about 80 pages long. And it literally was like, these are your superfoods. These are the things you should never, ever eat.
Wow.
And it gave me all the whys and where in my body the process is breaking down to what's good and what's bad. The other testing that I did was genetic testing that looks at medications and foods and how your body's reacting to them. So it's a lot more scientific. Like a doctor needs to order it, or it's way expensive. I don't have a coupon for that. It's like way expensive. But I had the opportunity, my insurance, because of all the health issues that I go through here in the United States, we have an insurance system, and my insurance actually covered it for me. It was worth them to pay the $3,000 for the test because they knew that it would make me healthier long term. So they see it as a preventative measure after getting the more standard, easily accessed testing. After seeing those results and how much that helped, they said, let's take it a step further. So I was lucky to get that additional testing.
All right,
so.
Interesting. I'm quite interested by the test. I like tests.
Yeah, I do
especially
too.
when it's
And
physical
hey,
health. Yeah, it's interesting.
yes, so I don't know like how around the world Ancestry or 23andMe type of situations are. Have you heard of those?
Yeah, I've seen the ancestry trees. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when my father was alive, he passed away 5 years ago, but we worked on our family tree together using Ancestry, and they started offering DNA testing so that you could connect with other people around the world who could be in your bloodline and through DNA. So they like know that this person was your fourth cousin to your nephew or whatever, however they're related. So that was really interesting to do, but I found another test. It's a company. It costs $7. And I took the data. You can download your data from Ancestry, and get that on sale. Download that raw data about your genetics. So now you have your genetic file that just costs you like $69 on sale, American dollars. I don't know how that would translate. It's probably like 5,000 rubles or something. I don't know. But but that simple test for your ancestry gives you data that you didn't even know you have. You download that data file that's your genetics that costs you thousands of dollars at a regular doctor's office. You take that data and you can put it into an online program. You upload it to a company called Prometheus, or there's other similar companies. That's the one I found. It's only $7, $7 American dollars for to use Prometheus, but you can do it from anywhere in the world. Put your data into there and it gives you your genetic health information. Right. Okay. Very, very interesting.
Yeah.
But I found out through that Prometheus that I had breast cancer. And then I knew that I had the gene for breast cancer, and it showed up 9 times, or a gene involved in breast cancer. It showed up 9 times in my genetic results. And then I went to an oncologist and I actually had to go through cancer treatment. They found it and now they know it's genetic. So it probably will come back in my lifetime. Hopefully I live a long time, but I know that now I have this issue and I need to stay on top of it and get it checked and know and understand what I'm going through so that I can prevent something further from happening bad to me in the future. But it literally was, $69 for the ancestry test and $7 for Prometheus. And it was well worth the money. And it was a way around the expensive test that you get at the doctor's office if you can't afford it.
Wow, I can't believe you found all that out just from having going through one test and then it kind of spiral into another one. And
I'm fascinated with genetics, and I believe that we should all be tested at birth for what are the best medications for you. Imagine if they could know, hey, in your life you have these issues with your chromosomes, and we
at the very beginning.
In the very beginning, we can fix it now. Or a lot of times people are allergic to a medication like an antibiotic, and they don't know until they try it. With this testing that I got done, pharmacogenomics testing, that was the genetics test that talked about food and medications and how my body reacts to them. That's information that will go with me the rest of my life. Imagine if we had that from birth and we never had to say, let's try and see if this medicine helps you. We knew from the day we got that data what medications would be helpful for you, and they have your information to know when new medications come out. They can automatically update your information, your data file, so that this medication's even better than the last one that they had you on, or that one would be worse. Stay with what you have. They know that information now, and I cannot wait until this is just standard, that we treat people with early detection and prevention instead of wait until we have these diseases and try to figure it out.
Yeah, you're very right. Yeah, if you know it, if you know at an early stage, you've got the chance, like you say, to be more prepared for it. Change your diet if that's necessary. I'm not at that level where I understand it on a very deep level, but things evolve in us as we grow older. So there'll be things that maybe it doesn't detect as you grow older, but it would certainly help.
Right, like environmental or lifestyle. If you've smoked cigarettes for 40 years, well, you're probably going to develop mouth cancer, throat cancer, lung cancer. Like you probably are going to develop something from your environment or your lifestyle.
Yeah.
But if you could have your genetic information from birth, there's so many things that are genetically related, or because you have this thing in your genetics, it tells you don't drink green tea. It could develop diabetes type 2 in you.
Yeah.
Things like that, whereas people go, oh, tea is good for you. Tea's not good for everybody. So tea's not good for people who have type 2 diabetes, or green tea is not good for people with type 2 diabetes. So, but a lot of times doctors will say, drink tea, drink water when you have diabetes, and green tea tastes better for some people and they're actually hurting themselves. What if you knew that ahead of time?
I wasn't expecting to come onto this subject, but yeah, I like it.
Yeah. So I'm telling you, health is like, pain is my specialty, but health in general can help prevent physical, mental, spiritual, emotional pain that you go through in life. And so being prepared and being organized in your health, even when you don't, especially when you don't need to be, will help you when you do need it.
Most people I know that look after themselves physically, that you can see a difference a lot of the time if there's a comparison. If you look after yourself
I
physically,
think that also plays into genetics.
yeah,
Some people are positive and optimistic just
yeah,
by nature, like
yeah,
just by their genetics, and some people are pessimistic. You could work out every single day and be pessimistic, and it all it does is make your workout harder. It doesn't it doesn't but even if you're positive, it doesn't mean that your workout's not hard. It means that you're just facing it with a different mindset, but that can be genetic as well.
As you just mentioned, you said you specialize in pain. I've seen that from, I think you've been in over 1,000 media articles, and
Yes.
you said 7 books you've written, or 9?
9.
9
I
books.
did co-authored 4 and I did 5 on my own.
Yeah. And are they all to do with pain or around that subject?
Yeah, they're all pain, health, and motivation.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
One's a children's book, one's an adult relationship book,
okay.
navigating the health field in the United States. Just one's my journey through chronic pain and all the missteps that I took, so that other people can read about my story and not make those same missteps. So just if there's a subject that I feel the calling or need to write about, I write about it.
Yeah.
And
Well,
share those details so other people don't have to struggle and don't have the same challenges that I faced and had to overcome on my own.
yeah. Well, I think it's a wonderful thing what you're doing in terms of just, you're taking your journey, which obviously doesn't sound like it's been easy, and sharing it with other people to help others. I think it's a wonderful thing to do. So thank you for that. So before we wrap up today, give us some I suppose some final words of wisdom, also with maybe some tips on pain.
Sure. So final words of wisdom. Well, I'm going to skip the final words of wisdom for a second.
Yeah.
So some other tips on pain. I've thrown out a lot during the podcast. Really set the expectation. Reach out and seek out help. There is help available for you no matter where you are in this world. There's a way you can reach out. One of those is through one of the charities that I work with the most, International Pain Foundation. Hence, International Pain Foundation. We're helping people from all over the world. So wherever you're listening from, you can reach out if you are going through something or you are trying to help somebody going through something, and find out what's available, what resources are available. We have mentoring programs, that type of thing. Okay. As far as my final words, I would say there's great reason for hope because there is help. Remember that. All you have to do is reach out and seek it.
Get help.
Get help.
Get help. Well, Barby, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure having you here. Where can people find you? I will be sharing all of the links on the podcast and YouTube if it goes onto YouTube. But yeah, for those that are listening in.
Yes, you can check out my information personally at my website, my name, barbyingle.com. And you can find out all about chronic pain and challenges with chronic pain at internationalpain.org.
Well, thank you very much, Barby. It's been a pleasure having you here today.
It's been a pleasure, Richard. And for everybody listening, one of the things we can do to help Richard, because he has an awesome podcast that's covering so many things in developing your lives to make them better. Let's help him out and go right now and give him a review of his podcast so that other people can find it easier. And he knows that he's appreciated for all the work that he's doing around the world.
Thank you so much, Barby. That's wonderful. Thank you. I appreciate it.